Hey owner-operators, it's Jeff Szarley again from Let's Truck. Today we're going to jump in and show how to adjust the actual mile per gallon settings on your ScanGauge. Well, we get a lot of callers that say, well, ScanGauge is reading 1 mile per gallon higher than I'm getting on pen and paper, which is completely normal because it's reading it directly from your ECM. There is no inline flow meter that measures fuel coming out of your tanks. Your ECM on your engine is just a big calculator, giving the numbers to ScanGauge. But the best thing about ScanGauge is you can adjust it as a percentage in case it's way off. So a lot of people watch your instant in the upper right corner here. It's hard to measure that per pen and paper because it changes all the time. And the average in the lower right corner, that one resets every time we shut the key off. That's a good way to check, but there's an even better way. If we go to the main menu here, and then we go back into the trip menu, the lower left button, and then we hit trips again. We'll scroll through the lower left till it says tank, scroll through the top until it says MPG. That's going to be your average mile per gallon of that tank. This is the number you want to compare to your pencil and paper to see how accurate your ECM is putting out or how accurate your ScanGauge is reading. If this number up top here is showing, say, 7.5, and your actual mile per gallon is 6.5, we will adjust that. So the best way to do that is jump back to the main menu down here. What we're going to do is press the button that says More on the center right. Then we're going to go into the Setup menu on the lower left side. Okay, it's showing our distance, reading in miles. We're next going to press the upper left button one time, Advanced Settings. Now we're going to move back to the right to the center right button and press Edit. Okay, we are in the Advanced Settings menu. Now what we'll do is we'll jump back up to the upper left button right here. We're going to press it 5 times. Take your time, and I suggest doing this when you're stopped, definitely. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Fuel adjustment as a percentage. This is the quickest and simplest way to adjust that number. So ScanGauge is reading a little bit high. What I like to do, we'll tell ScanGauge with these bottom numbers here, the bottom arrows, the lower left and the center right, we're going to bring it down to a negative number. You're telling ScanGauge, I want you to read a little bit lower than what I'm actually getting on pencil and paper. I want it to be accurate to my pencil and paper. I want it to read lower than what you're reading now. I start most trucks and engines in the 7 or 8% range in a negative if it's reading too high. That's the most common number. I've seen it off. Actually, we'll set this one at 6.5. Other way around, if your ScanGauge is showing 5.5, 5.9 all the time, you're actually getting on pen and paper 8. We'll just go to a positive. I'm using these two bottom arrows here to adjust. So we can hold the number down also. It takes a little time. I suggest adjusting this number, running 4 to 5 tanks of fuel, comparing pencil and paper to your ScanGauge, then adjusting the number again if need be. See, now we're back in a positive. This will bring the reading on the ScanGauge higher than it has been reading. So it's the best way to get it closer. Most drivers can get this number within 3 to 4 tenths of a mile per gallon. It is never ever going to be perfectly accurate, just like I said, because it's nothing but a giant calculator. There's nothing measuring the fuel coming out. So if you can get it within 3 to 4 tenths, you're doing a very good job. There's nothing to save in this menu. When you're done, we're going to go back to our main menu button in the lower right corner here and go back to the main menu. That's it. Next time you get fuel, go back to your trip menu, hit trips, check your tank mile per gallon versus your pencil and paper, and adjust accordingly. I hope you really enjoyed this video. Contact me, Jeff S. at letstruck.com for any further questions. Have a safe and profitable week.